Welcome back to the Eric Krown crypto channel, and a bit of a different day today as I wanted to go over how I formulate and then employ actual trading strategies using what I call a skeleton key, which is essentially a whole conglomeration, as we're going over, of all of the different tools and indicators and whatnot that I use, and also stuff that I don't even use as well, as it does allow for external inputs to combine and coalesce and come together for hopefully a working strategy. So I'm going to be starting off with a blank slate today. I kind of have an idea of where I want this one to go, but ultimately it's going to be discovery between you and myself, and maybe who else is watching as well. Other than that, I should actually let you know that before we get into it, you can get the Jewel Light for free for the first 30 days if you follow the directions in the link in the description below. And then because I know that a lot of people are looking for a new exchange because most exchanges are having their own issues, there's a decentralized exchange that has become more and more viable called Apex Exchange, which you can find an affiliate link to in the description below as well, which will award you 5% off your trading fees. All right, sweet. So let's just jump right into it. And this one is going to potentially be a long one. We'll see what we can do here. So first things first, we're going to be doing this strategy on, let's go to a 15-minute time frame. How about that? 15-minute could be cool. All right, so in this case, I have the skeleton key already loaded in. That's going to be this guy right here. And we can go directly to the settings and we'll just go through it together. So the strategy direction in this case, we're just gonna be focusing on a long strategy. Keep it nice and simple. I mean, Bitcoin's been up on a nice 20% tear recently, so I suspect that this will be hopefully on the right side of things. In this case, do I want to be using the Krown cross to be, as an entry condition? Not to start off with. I might come back later and play with something like this, but not to start off with. We're not going to be using RSI or patterns on this one. I want to base this one off of the Jewel. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have my first entry condition. In this case, I'm going to just put it as white. So when the Jewel or Jewel Light turns white, that will indicate an entry condition. I have the Jewel, I have the Jewel Light right here. So basically anytime that it turned white, it would be like an entry condition. Like obviously that's going to be a terrible strategy in and of itself. So when this does populate itself, it's going to look pretty bad. So let's just see what it comes up with. So you can get an idea of what the strategy tester will look like first and foremost. Oh, I guess actually nothing popped up. Oh yeah, I mean, there's not really much to be going off of there, I suppose. Okay, so that'll be our first entry condition. We won't play around with any more of the exotic tools like the bars so that it is valid just yet. We want to just get the base first. The base is the most important. Then we go back and we start to try to optimize things. But first things first, we need to get a working key here with the basic tools. So we're going to base it around this. Then I'm not going to use the HPDR. What I'll use is I'll use the PMARP. So the PMARP I like to use both for an entry and exit condition. I almost always find some sort of an advantage with that. So in this case, for the entry, I want to make sure that the PMARP is below 50 percentile, just as kind of like a round even number, cutting off right in the middle. And essentially, we can play around with things later. Bringing it down a little bit more or raising it up a little bit more just to see what the results, what they're going to be, if they're better or not. Then for the take profit, I can also have an exit condition for the PMARP as well. So I usually like to start off around 75. Sometimes I go actually much higher than that. I usually don't ever go lower than that, or at least not much lower than that. So we'll start off right there. And this should actually give us something on the actual strategy tester itself. So let's just let it populate for a second here. I'll remove this out of the way. And let's see, this is like the one thing with the skeleton key. It does take quite some time. All right, so we already have what appears to be a profitable strategy. It's certainly not great, but it's workable. It's workable here. So this would be almost 69.5% strike rate, positive net profit, 412 closed trades in the testing period thus far. Yeah, not bad. I do want to address something because a lot of people will look at the average trade and they'll be like, hey, what? The average trade is only $69. Great number. No, that's not. That's a combination of the winning and losing trades, actually. So if we go into the performance summary, we can see that the average winning trade was what? Yeah, about 0.5% actually. And the largest winning trade was actually 420. It's 420, so not bad right there. Okay, so we have a template right now. It's viable, but it's certainly an optimal. So let's go through a few more things and see what we can find before we start to really fine tune the numbers there and maybe come up with something even better. Okay, could we go into the slope of, do we want to be looking at slope analysis? Maybe not yet. I don't know if I'll really want to be using that in this particular one. Crosses, do we want to be looking at crosses between the stochastic or the PMAR? Nah, I think we'll hold off on that for right now as well. We have a decent base, and I've gone over this sort of basic strategy, many other times in prior videos throughout the past year. Okay, so now we can get into formatting the PMARP type that we're looking at. Again, I'll keep it here at default. I don't want to be messing around with that too much just yet. Default BBWP everywhere. Yes, good. BBWP everywhere. Yep. BBWP in my face. No good there as well. Again, all of this stuff we don't really want to be looking at just yet. Okay, so now we get to risk management. Obviously need something to manage risk on. Two major ways that I like to use for this are either enabling, what I refer to as like the basic risk, which is essentially just mapping off the prior horizontal level. And so, if it breaks the prior horizontal support, in this case, it would close the trade. Let's see if that actually increases things or not here from just the very, very bare bones. Keep it in mind that the net profit thus far was about $28,000. So let's let this one load. Again, this is going to be the biggest issue with this script is that it takes fucking time to load. And we'll just be patient here. Patience is a virtue after all, isn't it? And it actually did increase things a little bit. Funnily enough, and this is of note here. So you'll notice that the net profit went up by a non-trivial amount. Total closed trades also went up as well, but the percent profitable actually went down a little bit, which is interesting. And the equity curve had like a major run here after basically chopping sideways for, probably a couple months. Went on like a major run for 2 to 3 months and then lost a good amount of that. So we want to hopefully curtail that sort of a loss. So to do something like that, my usual point of attacking that is to employ some sort of what I call a trend filter. So it will not take the trade. It will not initiate a trade if the trend is generally against it. So, what we can do in this case is we can enable a higher time frame trend so that it must trade with the 1 hour trend in this case. And by the way, I'm just judging the trend by the 21 and 55 cross, as you can see right here. And let's see if that helps things. Let's see if that hurts things. Who knows? We won't know until we try, and we're just going to start off with an hourly one, and that certainly helped. Still lost a good amount right here, but overall everything did increase. Net profit increased by, again, a pretty large amount, another $10,000. Percent profitable, profit factor, so on and so forth. Looking a lot better there, definitely. Maybe we could play around with different time frames here. Maybe we try like a 30-minute instead of an hourly, and then maybe we try like a 2 hour or 4 hour just to see if that, has a much greater effect, for example. And then we can start to, titrate things down from there. So I will let this one load yet again, and we will be patient as always. Oh boy, this one's going to take a while. Alrighty, come on, baby. Show me the money or show me the results. Much better now on a 30-minute time frame filter. Still losing a lot right there. It is to be expected that you're not going to be being able to hold on to like the max. In this case, this one printed about $100,000 first, and then lost about $35,000 of that from that peak. But generally speaking, we just want to see things going, up and to the right. With these higher lows on the equity curve. So, we lost quite a fair bit of trades by employing this, but the strategy itself became a lot more efficient. So, this starts to become a bit more of a personal call, like what do you actually want? This one's going to have a generally significantly higher net profit. So I'd say this is, all around better as of right now. I think maybe we'll try like a 45-minute as well, just to see what happens. and then we'll move on from there to the next sort of my next usual point of attack when kind of getting away from the base setup into more optimized criteria here. So we'll see what happens after this one does populate, and again, patience. That will be the biggest drawback with this particular thing. And now we're starting to see a slight improvement, yes. Not a humongous improvement, obviously, but a slight improvement nonetheless. Net profit went up again, percent profitable, and profit factor all looking decent there. It's still, losing a good amount from the peak, giving up about $34,000 there. But again, we can't expect it to always just go up and to the right. Like it will come back down. Inevitably. What we want, however, for a long-term profitable trading strategy is for those to produce higher lows, obviously. So 45 minutes seems pretty good. We'll mark that one off in our brains. What I'll do now is I'll go down to, I'll try a 34 minute, kind of like marking these in the middle. That's just another fib number right there. So that's why I'm trying that one. And then we'll try something that's like way higher just to see what happens, like a 90 minute. And if that doesn't, produce anything better, then I think we'll stick with likely the 45. And by the way, on the background here, you can see those prior trades. And this is actually significantly better yet again. 77,000 now versus the what was it, like 30 or 66 earlier. Things become more efficient here as well. Yeah, okay, actually pretty good. Seems like going a little bit lower is better. Maybe I'll try 21 minutes, another fib number here as well, just to see what happens. I'll take my gotta take my medicine in between. It's my finasteride so my hair doesn't fucking fall out. I got a hair transplant a year ago. It's kind of starting to grow back in actually rather well, but man, got to be on top of them pills. All right, so that was non-improvement. So I think we're gonna stick with that 34. I was trying to swallow it, which sounds terrible. Cool. All right, so I think we're in a good place as of right now. What I'd like to do next is I'd like to play around with the weekday filter. So what I typically notice is that there are certain days of the week for particular time frames that it just doesn't like. So keep in mind the numbers right there. 77 is the big one that we generally want to optimize for net profit. What if we take away Thursday? Thursday is usually a bad day for longs, just in my experience. I'm going to try. That's going to be my first one that I try to take out when it comes down to the longs. So let's delete that, see what happens. And ding dong, ding dong. Like I said, patience is certainly required for this endeavor. And I'll just check my messages in the background while this is going on. And there we go. Not better, actually. It could very well be that the trend filter is getting rid of those just by the nature of what a trend filter does. So that could be that. Let's take away Sunday. Sunday is usually another day that's not so nice to longs. And then we'll just try some random days as well. But it could be that because we have a trend filter here, that's just going to be better. So we can run with that. Don't need to make it any more complicated than what it needs to be, of course. So let's see if this produces any improvement. Obviously, yeah, actually a pretty good improvement right there. All right, so up to 89,000. Percent profitable went up as well. So that's good. Let's try taking away the other weekend day. So Saturday, see what happens. And because that can sometimes be a problem, or Monday. So we'll play around with those ones, but we're starting to get into a much better place here. So let's just let it run and see what we can get. All right. Like I said, the patience is required. Can see all these trades right here. It looks to have gone on like a pretty nice win streak recently. So that's cool. And as we add more conditions to this, it will naturally become more convoluted. But interesting here, the profit factor went up, so it did become more efficient, but net profit went down, and I want to optimize for that. So I'll try taking away Monday next. Maybe we'll try Friday as well. But just one by one. So small incremental changes is what we want to focus on. We don't want to do anything crazy once we have the base formula in place. We want to be measured with it. We want to be, stock steady and not fucking around too much with something that's already working. In the meantime, I will take a sip of this water because I'm damn thirsty. All right. So I believe this was a slight improvement as well. We might need to go back just to see. But yeah, less total close trades. That's okay. Percent profitable, 73.25, pretty good. Net profit still in the 80s there, so not bad as well. Yeah, did have a peak at about 107,000 over this period, but giving away what I would consider a relatively small amount. Yeah, it's completely acceptable. So I think that's starting to look pretty good. We'll try Friday off as well, but I think that this is going to be at Monday, Sunday. So fuck the Monday, Sundays, and we just want to see here. Then we can start to play around with the time zone. Right now, I have it on GMT -7. Just kind of aligning with the American time zone right there. But this one's always tricky. Yeah, so we do see that the percent profitable did go up here. Profit factor is actually almost at 2 now. I mean, I would, personally speaking, I would optimize for net profit. Now, other people, might optimize for a better strike rate. Fair enough. That's a personal call. But I'm going to put that one back on. I'd rather have those trades there. Even if they weren't, producing that much in our favor, that's okay. It seems like we're in a pretty good place at this point. Up and to the right is the idea. Up and to the right, higher lows in the equity curve, just like you'd want on your actual trading. So was it 84 or was it? Well, close enough. All right. Okay, let's try GMT -10, see how this one influences things. And then we'll try GMT -5. And I don't usually like to go too far away from those two numbers. Those seem to be some of the better ones. When we're talking about longs for these sort of time, these sort of times, I won't fuck around with the use session as well. You can produce some pretty impressive results with that. Okay, so definitely -7 was better. You can produce some really nice results with that, but I do fear that it tends to get into over optimization. We want to get away from that. Let's try -5 as well, just to see. And if that does not produce anything better, we'll go back to -7. Yes, there we go. Waiting, as usual. All right, let's see what it produces here. 85. Okay, so actually a little bit better. Actually slightly better. Let's actually go -3. Let's see what -3 does. And then maybe we even try 0 if this starts to, produce like a positive trend towards that, towards that time zone. And you might be wondering, like, why does this matter? It matters because it's going to change, like, by a small amount the times that it's actually trading on these days. Obviously GMT -7 is going to be having different hours on a Monday than a GMT -3. Obviously. So yeah. Anyways, 88, even better. Okay, we're going in the right direction. Let's try 0. Let's see if that gets us even higher, into the 90s perhaps. You can see it starts to get more and more exciting as you go on. Actually, pretty fucking fun, to be honest with you. You can spend a lot of time doing this. In fact, I spend a lot of time myself doing this. Sometimes doesn't produce anything good. Sometimes produces something that changes, my account. 83. Okay, so I think we found our sweet spot here. We're going to leave it at -3. We don't need to get too in the weeds with this one, but just so that you can see. All right, let's now put in a maximum take profit just to see what it would do. I want to see if we can get these numbers up a little bit more. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to start off with, well, let's see what the average trade is. So we go into the performance summary. Now the average winning trade is actually 0.5%, which is very interesting right there. But this is like a max take profit. So we probably want to have it higher just to like kind of, you know, grab those outliers, obviously, really, really quickly before they potentially come back down. So I'm going to go for like 1.2, you know, 1.2%, and see what happens here. So that means that if price trades 1.2% higher than the entry, the trade will be closed on that candle's closure. So let's see what happens in this regard right here. I realize this video is getting pretty damn long, but you know, good things do take time, obviously. So let this one run on through, and we'll see what happens. Whoops, let's actually go to the. Okay, so net profit went down there, so that tells me that it should be probably higher. Let's try like 1.8, because it's probably just getting like it's probably closing some like big winners a little bit too soon. So let's see what this produces. If this makes it even worse, then we could try something much lower as well, and see what that does. So as always, you know, like I said, I did not pre-plan this particular one. I had kind of had an idea in mind as far as the base goes, but okay, so yeah, we're trending up now, so that's good. Let's try maybe 2.1. Try some a little bit further out there, because I figure that there's maybe like these moves that are just blasting off and then giving a lot back, and that's probably what's happening by doing this maximum take profit. Could also be that we just don't have it at all. I mean, if it's not producing a positive change, then why keep it? All right, so this one's not making any change. Let's do 2.5 just to see. Just see what happens here. So again, oh, all right, starting to break it. Maybe we try 2.6. That'll happen sometimes. It's actually been happening less and less as time goes on, thank God. You know, it seems like TradingView is kind of getting their act together, but you know, it's difficult, right? Anyways, let's see it load now. And if this one doesn't produce any positive increase, we're just going to get rid of it for the time being. Yeah, same thing basically. Maybe we could try something that's like a much lower, like 0.8, so even less than 1%. I figure it's going to increase the amount of total trades taken, but you know, it's going to get rid of some of the really big winners as well. So I don't know if that's a good do here, but we'll try. We'll see what happens. Come on. Can also use ATR for risk as well. Yeah, that's going to massively reduce it. So I'm going to get rid of this for now. I kind of liked it where it was. Next thing I'd like to play around with is the PMARP levels. I suspect that we can probably have something a bit higher. So in this case, our current take profit is at 75. Let's go to 80. Let's go to 80. See if that increases things a little bit more. I think we can be maybe a little bit more greedy, maybe even 81, because it just, yeah, gave me that same error right there. And like I said, as we add more and more things, you know, gets more and more convoluted, and well, that can happen, obviously. All right, let's see. It's loading. Just give it some time, give it some space. Checking my other screens, reading my damn messages. And here we go. We have a nice increase, actually, all the way up to 94 now. Let's juice that up to. Let's actually see what the equity curve. Look at that. We got rid of that big down right there. Pretty much not even existent now. Let's go to 85 just to see. Maybe we'll crack into the hundreds now, which would be cool. Show me the money. Show me the results, actually. All right. A lot of loading, a lot of waiting, but that's what it is, my friends. And I wanted this video to be as raw as possible, you know. Hey, there we go. All right, we're getting to the hundreds now. Beautiful. Let's go a little bit higher. Let's try 88. So let's see if this produces a nice increase. If it doesn't, we might have found a good space, because I don't really ever find myself going this high, honestly. Low 80s is like the most, and well, let's just see what happens. Then we can start to play around with the threshold here. We can raise it up, we can lower it, see what happens, and then we can play around with the Joule threshold as well. No, that was a decrease, so let's go back to 85. I think it was 85. I'll just let it load first just to confirm. If it wasn't, I believe it was 84. But yeah, usually I write these things down when I'm not doing a damn video. But here, this so far so good. There comes the eggs from this morning. Yeah, 103. Okay, beautiful. All right, so for the threshold, we want the PMARP to be below 50. Let's say we raise it up to 60 percentile. It's going to give us more trades, but maybe those more trades add up to more net profit, or maybe they're going to be worse. We don't know yet. If they're worse, then we'll try to go down to 40 and play around with that and just see if we can find something that's obvious. $116, much better. Again, looking good there. So I'm going to raise this up now. Maybe let's try 65. It's not wise to have the entry and exit conditions like super close to each other. I'd have like a general rule of at least 15. So maybe we could try up to 70, but we're in a good place. Like this is a pretty good place thus far. So slow and steady up and to the right is what we want to be seeing, and see what happens now when we try 65. And no. Okay, so a market decrease. So we're gonna stick with 60. And then the next thing I'd like to play around with is the level that the jewel needs. Sorry. Oh, I have a BBWP condition here as well. Did I speak about that earlier? BBWP needs to be above 50. But let's now. Do we have a jewel condition? Where's our jewel condition? No, we don't even have a jewel condition. Holy shit. Let's say the jewel needs to be below like 50, or let's say 40. Let's try 40. All right, let's try this. So BBWP needs to be above 50 percentile. Jewel needs to be below 40. And then I also want to flip this. I want to see what, like, is it going to be better if BBWP is less than 50? And then we'll go from there. But so far so good. Starting to feel pretty good about this one. Okay, definitely not better. So it might actually even be okay to just leave it like this. Let's flip this around. See what happens when we do this. See if this makes any difference. Must be below 50 instead of above 50 now. I was rather surprised. So this is something completely new. Actually, I've never not had a condition for where the jewel needs to be. Actually, okay, definitely not working there. So we definitely want it greater than 50. Let's try like greater than 60. Maybe it always has to be above 60, and then we'll try greater than 40 and see if these produce improvements or not. And if it doesn't, if we start to maximize this thing out, then I think it's time to wrap it up, because we don't need to get too cute with it. I mean, this is just a kind of a demonstration video after all, and you can start to you can really further optimize it than what I've done thus far as well. Yeah, okay, getting a little bit better there, I think. Let's try 65, see what that does. So 118 was the net profit now. Looking, I mean, not bad. I'd run this. Like I wouldn't mind. I mean, just having that kind of work in the background. We can even run a longer test as well through the deep tester. But for now, we'll keep it focused on this one. This is about 6 months of price action that's being tested here. Even better. Okay, so this is now it's at new highs on this run. It looks like, yeah, really fucking good. Let's try 70. So volatility, like it has to be rather volatile. This is very interesting. Would kind of make sense. I mean, volatility has to be going up, takes care of that. So volatility is going up. Oscillator is suggesting upside. Yes. Yeah. So you're just kind of taking advantage of the run while it's already in place, rather than like trying to catch it at the low. Okay, so not an improvement there. So we're gonna stick with 65. All right, I think yeah, you can do a lot more things with this. Obviously, I'll just show like one last little thing. One last little thing. So with the PMARP type that we're using, let's say I make it so that the length is a little bit bigger. So theoretically, this might be able to juice out a little bit more net profit. Yeah, so we're at 129. We don't want to play around with this too much, you know, maybe go up a couple points or down a couple points. But you know, you really shouldn't fuck around with this one too much in my experience. But let's see. 21. Let's see if that brings it above the 129 mark for net profit. And if not, then we'll try one less. Okay, not better. Let's try one less. So 19. See if this is moving us in the right direction. But I think this video is already 30 minutes long. Probably long enough for most people out there. And I need to get on with my own day as well. But so far, so good. Come on, baby. Show it to me. No. All right. We're in a good place. We'll keep it there. Default. And yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave this particular video. You can go ahead and see all the results on the chart here. We can go through the full performance summary. I'll remove my face actually for this one. So there we go. Let's let it load. All right. So you can see the net profit. You can see the equity curve. You can see max drawdown. You can see profit factor, 2.5 almost. Performance summary. What I'm most interested in, these sort of things over here, they're cool, but not super interesting for myself. Average winning trade, we have about 3/4%. Average losing trade, a little bit higher than that actually, but because it has such a high win rate, it covers for that. Largest winning trade, 415. Largest losing trade, 275. Probably could have had a max stop loss condition there as well, and that would have helped out with that. But overall, pretty good. Average amount of bars in the winning trades, 26, 36 in the losing trades. But yeah, I actually quite like this one. List of trades. Let's see how far back this goes. I'm going to guess 6 months. Yep. From November of 2022. So this video is being recorded actually at the end of June. So that's going to be like 7 months or 8 months. So quite a good sample space there. And you know what? I think that's a good place for me to be leaving this one off. I didn't even speak about where you can get this, by the way, but basically what we're doing is we are bundling this, or we're going to be bundling this with the Quant program for a monthly subscription, which you can find in the description below. So yeah, you can do this yourself. You can obviously further optimize this for yourself. You can make this, significantly better, significantly worse, however you decide. But here's just, a running example, back tested over the past 7 or 8 months now. And, actually not bad at all. Takes a bit of patience here, but not bad, at least in my opinion. So I think I'll end things on that note. Like I said, all of the relevant links are in the description below. I'll be signing off now. Take care, much love, and see you in the next one.